Hello everyone. So you may also have this problem. So why some people survive from this COVID virus, right? Why they survive from that one, and why some people get serious, and why do they die at the end, right? So the answer for that is very simple, but let's try to get the facts, right? Get the things around it and identify why do people survive and why do some people get serious and they die at the end. So the answer for that is the first one, antibody, right? So if some person is capable of producing sufficient antibody, he or she can successfully beat this virus, right? If some person is not capable of doing so, then that will be a problem. So let's see what is this antibody, right? Before going to antibodies, let's clear the other words, antibiotics and antigen. Antibiotics, you already know, penicillin, tetracycline. Likewise, there are a lot of names, right? Commercial names are also there. Antibiotic is a particular chemical that is produced inside another microorganism. So we produce this inside a microorganism, right? And we give them to a person. So this antibiotic has the ability to destroy bacteria, right? There can be several processes. Some antibiotics can destroy the outer covering of the bacteria. Some virus can, so we can call it killing the bacteria, kill the bacteria. Sometimes some antibiotics can stop the reproduction of the bacteria. So there is no new bacteria production, only the existing bacteria will die after a few days. So no problem, right? This is antibiotic. Right? So antibiotics cannot do any harm, any damage to the virus, right? Then, so we cannot use antibiotics for this COVID. Next one is antigen. What is an antigen? Antigen is part or the whole microorganism, germ, which enters to our body, So that part or the whole microorganism is going to be the reason, acts as the reason for our body to produce antibodies, right? So the agent, right, agent which create a particular antibody, the agent which is coming from outside resource, the body, which helps or which creates the creation, right, production of antibodies, given the name antigen. To destroy a particular antigen, antibody is produced in our body. So now let's go for antibody. What is antibody, right? Antibody is produced inside our body. You know that inside our body there is blood, right? Blood is composed of two parts, basically blood cells and also plasma. In that blood cell there are three types of blood cells: platelets, okay, corpuscles we commonly call all of them, but basically platelets, white blood cells and red blood cells, right? From that, white blood cells help for us to produce this antibody. Again, there are a lot of different types of white blood cells. From that one, B lymphocytes, if you go for the specific name, is the one which produce this antibody, right? So antibody, or this is a chemical, a protein, right? We call it as immunoglobulin, protein, right? So this protein is produced by the white blood cells of our body, right? Then when this is produced, now antibodies are not common, they are specific. That means for a special virus, imagine this is the virus, there is a specific antibody for that one. This one cannot attack or destroy other microorganisms. They are just like trained soldiers to attack specific one. For COVID, this antibody is produced, right? So rarely it can attack or destroy, this antibody can attack or destroy a very similar microorganism to the specific one, right? But in other cases, it doesn't destroy the other microorganisms. So there are a lot of thousands of antibodies, different antibodies in our body to attack different microorganisms. So antibodies protect us from these viruses. How do they produce? In my previous videos, I have shown you the structure of a virus, right? If you take the COVID, right, it's like this. So there are places like this, right? So what does an antibody do is, it is a protein, it binds with these places, 1O mean, and this is the antibody and this is the virus, right? So they bind. Again, there are mechanisms for this one, right? This is not that simple, but I'm not going to tell you any mechanisms. You will have to have a very good understanding about science to identify them, but this is the simple thing. There are mechanisms how they lock these viruses. Likewise, somehow due to this binding of the antibody, right, binding of this antibody, now this virus becomes inactive. So if some person is capable of producing enough antibody, how does that happen? Now imagine this is one person, this is another person, this is another person. This person gets infected with 100 virus, this one with 1000, this one with 10,000. So obviously, you know that this person can easily produce, or not easily, right, produce antibodies and destroy this 100. Even though they multiplicate, the initial number is low. So he is capable of producing, and he has the time to produce these antibodies, right? Antibodies. So again, antibodies are produced for specific virus, right? So when this virus enters, then the white blood cells start to produce the antibodies inside our body, right? So this person has the time. This one, the concentration, the amount of virus is high. For this person, definitely it is going to be problematic, because all 10,000 is going to invade a considerably high amount of cells. So for people like this, get a low concentration of virus through the infection, get the disease, but they can survive. This is one part, right? The other one, you know that due to other diseases, our immune system or white blood cells are not capable to produce these antibodies with a very efficient rate. People who suffer from other diseases, right? So they are not capable to produce these antibodies and inactive or destroy this virus. So they become ill, or it becomes difficult for them to deactivate these virus and destroy them. So again, those people also have a very high risk for their lives. So this is how one part of people, some people, or most of the people in this case, get survived, right, from this virus attack, and few people get serious, right, and they are going to lose their lives, right? So if we are capable of producing the antibodies, we can survive. If we are not, we will have to face a threat. So in another video, let's see how these vaccines work and how these vaccines help for our body to produce these antibodies.